过岗。
Noor, a hard-working young man, has always dreamed of becoming an adventurer. Despite his dedication, he has only ever mastered one basic skill: parrying. As a child, Noor took care of his sick mother, doing everything he could to help. One day, before taking the goats to feed, his mother reminded him not to go past the boundary rocks. She also apologized for not being able to do more for him, asking him to live life as he wanted after she was gone. That night, while making dinner, Noor went to give his mother some soup, only to find that she had passed away. Heartbroken, he buried her and vowed to live his life in her memory. Alone and with little ambition, he maintained his daily routine, though the house felt emptier. One late night, Noor accidentally found an old book on a shelf, the same one his father used to read to him, filled with tales of adventurers slaying dragons and casting spells. This rekindled a desire in Noor to become an adventurer. He left his home, saying a final goodbye to his parents' graves, and set off for the city to pursue his dream. Upon reaching the city, Noor eagerly went to the Adventurers Guild, but the receptionist, a large man, told him he was too young and should go home. Noor explained that he had no parents, and the receptionist, softening, told him he needed to attend a training school to learn useful skills first. Noor chose swordsmanship, inspired by the adventurer in his father's book who had slain a dragon. However, after months of training, all the other students had unlocked their abilities except for Noor. The instructor advised him to quit, as Noor had only learned to parry and showed no other talents. Undeterred, Noor tried other training schools, warrior, hunter, and more, but failed at every attempt. After several months, he returned to the Adventurers Guild, defeated but determined. The receptionist sympathized, but told Noor he couldn't become an adventurer without the necessary skills to survive. Noor returned home, his dream unfulfilled, but his resolve undimmed. He decided to focus on his one skill: parrying, and trained day and night for the next year. 3 years later, Noor's parrying skill had advanced to the point where he could deflect multiple attacks at once, yet he still hadn't unlocked any new abilities. Undeterred, he continued training for 10 more years, mastering the Makiri counter and becoming a parrying expert. Realizing he wouldn't learn new skills, Noor decided to try the Adventurers Guild once more. At the guild, Noor wrote down his skills, but the receptionist, unimpressed, suggested he look at training programs again. Noor explained that he had already tried every school in the city. The guild master, recognizing Noor from years before, sat down with him. Noor explained how he had done nothing but train since their last meeting. The guild master informed Noor that to become an E-rank adventurer, he needed at least 2 useful skills, which Noor didn't have. However, he mentioned there was a rank below E-rank, F-rank, which only required basic competence. The guild master warned Noor that F-rank adventurers were limited to menial tasks, with no dangerous quests allowed. Despite this, Noor eagerly signed up. Overjoyed to finally become an adventurer, Noor quickly began his F-rank duties, helping with everyday tasks like clearing gutters and working in construction. He found fulfillment in these simple jobs, happy to finally be an adventurer, even at the lowest rank. One day, while working near a dungeon, he heard a girl scream for help and rushed to investigate. Inside the dungeon, Noor found a girl and her party under attack by a massive minotaur, which he mistook for a giant cow. The minotaur slaughtered the knights defending the girl, who was paralyzed with fear. Realizing he had to act, Noor picked up a sword and threw a rock at the minotaur to get its attention. The beast charged at him, and Noor, relying on his parrying skills, deflected its attacks. Despite his best efforts, the minotaur overpowered him, but Noor managed to perform the Makiri counter. However, his attacks were only scratches, and the minotaur soon got back up, angrier than before. Noor shattered his sword with a parry, leaving the minotaur's axe to spin out and end itself in the process. Shortly after, a group of knights arrived, rescuing the girl, who turned out to be a princess. Noor was thanked by the princess before heading out of the cave, avoiding being spotted by anyone. Inez, Lin's knight, rushes up to her, apologizing for not accompanying her to the dungeon. Lin reassures her that it wasn't necessary, since it was just a basic trial for the right to succeed the throne. Soon after, a knight informs Lin that they must return to the castle as Lord Rain wants to speak with her. Lin already knows what it's about. Back at the castle, Lord Rain questions Knight Darkin about the dungeon incident. He's puzzled because the only way a minotaur could have ended up in that area was if it had been summoned. The knight agrees and mentions a dead merchant found at the scene with a ring that had a magic stone of unusually high purity. The crest on the ring indicates it originated from the magical empire of Doritos, leading Rain to believe they were behind the attack, trying to provoke a war to gain control of the dungeon. Rain is also curious about the mysterious guide who saved Lin. Reports say he defeated the minotaur in seconds with a broken broken sword and vanished before the castle spies could follow him. Meanwhile, Noor returns to the guild, surprising the guildmaster, who thought Noor might have been killed by the demon in the dungeon. Noor casually explains that he was being followed by shady people and went home without reporting the incident. The guildmaster tells him he's lucky to be alive since a minotaur could kill even an A-rank adventurer instantly. Noor remains oblivious that the minotaur he killed is the same demon everyone is talking about. The guildmaster advises him to get a regular job, but Noor is content being an adventurer despite the low pay. Lynn then appears behind Noor, saying she's glad to have found him. She apologizes for invading his privacy, but she used her long-distance detection skill to locate him. Assuming she's a thief-class adventurer, Noor is surprised when she reveals she's actually a magician with skills in various classes. As people begin to recognize Lynn, she asks if they can talk outside. The guildmaster warns Noor not to do anything foolish before he leaves with Lynn. Outside, Lynn conceals them with a skill and apologizes again for barging in, thanking Noor for saving her life and countless others. Noor downplays his actions, saying all he did was take down a minotaur and believes Lynn could have handled it herself. Lynn insists she would have died without his help and tries to offer him a reward, but Noor refuses, saying a simple thank you is enough. Lynn becomes desperate, offering Noor anything, even a territory, but Noor still declines. Lynn starts crying, saying she won't move until he accepts something. Noor, remembering a similar tactic he once used, agrees to meet her father but insists he doesn't want any extravagant gifts. Lynn is relieved and uses her concealment skill to take him to her house without being seen. At Lynn's house, Noor realizes just how wealthy her family is. They encounter Inez, who asks about Noor. Lynn explains he's the one who saved her, so Inez leads them to Lynn's father. Noor assumes Inez is a maid who likes wearing armor and notices she doesn't seem to like him, though he doesn't know why. They then meet Gilbert, who is suspicious of Noor. Inez tells him to put his spear away since Noor is Lynn's guest. Gilbert reluctantly agrees and asks Noor to accompany them. In the throne room, the king is discussing with Rain how Doritos has disregarded their peace treaty. Ever since the king of Doritos demanded control of the dungeon and was refused, they've been plotting against them. Lynn and the others arrive, and Lynn excitedly greets her brother and father. The king notices she's wearing a disguise cloak, meaning she went outside without permission, but she explains she had to find the man who saved her. The king realizes she means Noor and formally thanks him. Noor says a simple thank you is enough, but Lynn insists on giving him a reward. The king says Noor must accept something, or it would insult their nation. Noor reluctantly asks for a high-grade healing potion, something modest that he's always wanted to try but couldn't afford. The king tells him they don't have that cheap stuff, and offers him the berserker sword instead. Noor tests it out, feeling unfazed by its light weight. Ains follows Noor outside, questioning why a mere adventurer should receive such a valuable object, concerned that he might be after the royal family's fortune. Noor, unsure how to respond, jokingly says her concerns are valid and he can accept that. Then Noor crosses paths with Gilbert, who suggests he prove his sincerity by handing over all his money or accepting a dual request. Lynn then promises to hide you in her cloak if you leave a like. Also comment who is stronger, the king or Nori Boy.